This is Arukh HaShulchan. You're there, Simon Test Zayin. See if your test is Chabez. This is Supplemental Day 73 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi cycle. Your test. Even though also we said yesterday it deals with the species, not with the individuals, and that's masculine in masculine, not in feminine, and the primary prohibition, the exclusive prohibition, applies to the feminine, to the female, the mother and the offspring. Nevertheless, we come Ishtan Gemara down in Gemara Daf Ches. This really holds. You'll see also Lashon Zachar, since it says so in the masculine, the Noigam Eskorim, that it also applies to males. Sheidan Mihu Aviv, if we do know who the father of this animal is, also also now allowed to slaughter the father and the offspring on the same day. Argue was really the only applies to the females. HaShulchan V'Bahag V'Arif. No. They were saying HaShulchan V'Bahag, the Goyim, from the period of the Goyim. V'Arif, no, sorry, there's all one shita. That was what I was saying. HaShulchan V'Bahag Beharif. They all pass only does not apply to males. But Rosh Pasay no b'scholim. The Rosh Pasay does apply to males because I have a Torah and the Torah follows the Rosh. Abraham is speaking misapkele. The Abraham is not sure. Therefore, he writes him no. But even though for sure it's the father. Ain't shocking b'shnei yomecha. You can't check both the same day. Shchatan ain't a loket. But if you did check the father and the officer on the same day, there's no malchus. Shadover suffix. It's not clear. If it applies to males or not. And quote the the brackets it says Tam Moshe Rosh B'Shmuel Amar Locha Chananya. The Rosh says Locha Chananya. Who's one who holds it applies to males. Shum Mishnah B'Choros Mem Hey Ayin Shem Lekad Mishnah B'Choros. Tam Moshe Ram Mishnah Paskin and Shem Ayin Tes. But the Rambam holds differently because they're in Chulin Daf Ayin Tes. The passage Rabbi Yehuda. So we stop Rabbi Yehuda is unsure. Ayin Shem. Tam Moshe Shiltos B'Hag and the rationale of Shiltos B'Hag V'Arif. Those three positions. Rabbi Abba Shem Osam Ma'aseh Lo Chananya. Rabbi Abba actually did a deed. He shechted a father and the offspring on the same day. The Ma'aseh Lo Chananya. Because of a Rashba, because of by Sheni Shar Dalet, Ayin Shem, that is evidently the reason for the machlokas. Chaf v'da, you should know the Kol Yisraelim Yiskim Rambam. The din says fake din of this halacha is a suffix in halacha. Also, every now to slaughter the father and the offspring on the same day. In all matters in this world, the matter is unclear. If we take into account, it's in the Western point. Everything in the world. There's a suffix. If we take into account, if we take into account the lineage of the father, bivheim was the in animals, imlav if not. Zodas tesis vasmag v'amor v'sefetrum v'rashba v'ranzal. They're almost suppak. Kama rush v'aturis v'dibikar the din adavar suffix. They also in the primary law the matter is questionable. Im chashim zarav imlav. Do we take account the father's lineage or not? Even though the inclination is to definitely rule that we do take into account the lineage of the father. In terms of halacha, the passage for something, the matter is a matter of doubt. As is clear in the Rosh. The was not mentioned something. Mishum the iu lo marim amakas shein lanu b'zman. He's not talking about makas, which we don't have in our day and age. We don't talk about. There's no point talking about the being a suffix, and therefore we don't whip you. We're not going to whip you anyway. In terms of the actual prohibition, ain't valid. Doesn't mean if it's questionable or definite. Friar Brule is a definite indication of this, definite evidence of this. Because in terms of giving the gifts which supposed to give to a Kohen, which we speak on Simon Samachav, and in terms of kilayim of forbidden animal husbandry, Kasa v'sham atum before two writes explicitly shut over stuffing chashim zer av im lab and Shem writes explicitly that we're not sure if we take into account the lineage of the father or not. Yeshua some say the gam bahag v'rish kasa dein chashim ein malchus. They also, when they said we're not concerned with the lineage of the father, they're only talking about in terms of whether we give malchus or not. That we don't give malchus. Avol isur modim, but they do concede that there is a prohibition. I guess Mishum Safek. Hakamai so that's what Rova said. In any event, this is the opinion most of our rabbis were earlier and later. The matter is questionable. This seems to be the indication that that's how we paskin, or rather, that's how we conduct ourselves. Chavav Odi Sham Plukta Gemara Sham. So also Machlok is in the Gemara Yamina Sevafil Mixase. If we said that a sheep, even a partial sheep, the meaning kosa has to be completely a sheep. In other words, it has to be completely a behemoth, or even partially a behemoth, still considered nothing also best to know. Kaimel means Sevafil Mixase. And we paskin that you say even a partial say. When he says fighters bar also no biki lime. We said also applies to claim abam which comes from a goat and a sheep. Which name behemoths. They're both behemoths. Which name the din also and the lachos of course applies by both. Avol biklam bam a chaya. The biklam which comes from a behemoth and a chaya, such as the jeer or the dote. The man is really the Messiah is that being the host, they can impregnate each other. Much time seem receive your sign. The Chai ain't dinos of us no cloud. We know by a Chai there is no din of so as no much time shom. But as bar shot over so chashus there avim lab, and we already said we're not clear if we go after the father's lineage or not. L'chein nafkamina rabasi b'din ziseh v'afilu mitzasek, which is what we say in so it's big nafkamina in this halacha of do we follow a partial, even a partial set, as we should explain over the course of the next few seifim, saying tomorrow. Chapes klitzat. How so? Kagon says achar. You have a male set, which is a sheep. Shbot in the cable, which mated with a female deer. V'yodat Sitzivya Bas, and that deer gave birth to a daughter. V'osa Bas Yoda Vlad, and that daughter gave birth to another offspring. V'shachat Abbas of Vlad B'yomechon, you shachat the daughter and its offspring in one day. Name Makos Vali Potter, something except for Makos. Kim Shei Sofi Choshim Zer Abim Lav, since we're not clear if you take into account the father's lineage or not. V'dim Choshim, maybe we're not concerned with the father's lineage. V'dim said that Bas Zukul Chaya, in which case the daughter would be a complete Chaya. The mother was a chaya. Below behemoth, not an animal. Not an animal, not a behemoth. But there is a prohibition. Maybe we do take into account the lineage of the father. And there is a partial say here. But that prohibition only apply if we say this drasha. As the Gemara, according to me, the Gemara there, that Sevafil Mitzvah say even a partial says the say. No much at Torah Tzicha Kula say. Let's say the Torah required an entire say. Kam Isur Leika, there is no Isur as well. And we'll continue with this issue, of course, tomorrow. Mirz Hashem.